Spotify. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 336.
Yes.
Right? 236. 236 of the O The Anthem podcast.
Giving us an extra 100 there.
Hey, we'll get there eventually.
An extra hundo.
So thank you for joining us for episode 236 of the O The Anthem podcast. It is 4:53 p.m. on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the weekend recordings. But yes, 4:53 p.m. Pacific. That makes it 7:53 p.m. Eastern. I know the Anthem is live from coast to coast, broadcasting from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening to us on Spotify, like I did there in the opening. We're now available for streaming on Spotify, so go do that if that's your preferred podcast app of choice. And as always, you can do Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Google Play, all the old favorites. Am I a little bit out of place?
Shh, they can't see it. We're hidden right now.
And yeah, be sure to rate and subscribe when you're there doing those things.
And of course, don't forget to go over to google.com/plus O The Anthem.
Do your condolences there.
But yeah, of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Instagram and Twitter. You would have seen in your Instagram story a link to come to see the show right now.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're watching us live, you're watching at facebook.com/O The Anthem. And if not, you can find video of the podcast later there. If you're listening on your podcatcher of choice, make sure you let us know what you think about the show. Give us a call, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. That is, of course, the listener line, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes. We're also playing with our new toy today.
I know. Do you see? Oh, look at this. Look at this fancy bit of technology. So here's what this is. I can press this little button here. Oh, hey, it's just me. What's up? Oh, there's Corey.
Oh, my God. I wasn't prepared for this.
And then we're back to a two-shot, and we come out here, and, there's the intro.
Yeah.
There's the outro. And we'll show you a few more videos later on today. But
yeah.
that's our new little thing.
Hopefully, we're going to be able to eliminate the laptop completely from this.
Hopefully so. That's what we're
Well, I mean, not eliminate, but like eliminate the need to have it
the
directly in front of Rob the whole time.
It is a little distracting, and I do think it throws off the light. My eyes used to be a beautiful light ice shade in the recording, as opposed to the shit brown of Corey's eyes. And now I think that the light from the laptop is actually throwing it off a little bit. So I'd like to get back to that if possible.
There's a photon deficiency?
Yeah, I think it's an excess of photons that makes it not look as ice blue as it used to. So we'll try to get...
Like a husky puppy.
Yeah, husky puppy, exactly right. So let's knock it out of the way right up front. We want to talk a little sports ball?
Yeah. There we go, sports ball.
Yeah, and all done on the Stream Deck. By the way, not a sponsor. Stream Deck, not a sponsor, but they could be.
If they want to send us stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're really loving the Stream Deck Mini. Stream Deck.
Well, we had talked about the original one, like the big box before, but I think that's way too much for what we need.
Really, this is exactly the number of buttons that I need to have to operate on. Anything more than that, I already have a spot here for soundboard. I'm like, I'm gonna put together, like a drop, a couple drops
somewhere around episode 300. You're just gonna
not too much.
It's just gonna be other soundboards. It's not even gonna be us. It's just gonna be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like do it now.
Oh, I mean, we really could have that. I don't know if we'll get claimed though. That's the
problem.
Yeah. And thank you for everybody who's taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to join us. But yeah, let's talk a little sports ball. So we were unable to watch the Ravens play today. Not unable, unwilling.
I don't know if it was unwilling. It was just something that anybody who's back home won't understand is how difficult it is to make the decision to go out and watch the game and not do it at home.
Yeah.
Like they're at the building here, they said they were going to install Sunday Ticket in the movie room.
Which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
No one's going to be there at 9 a.m.
But
it's just going to be us.
Not today. It was not working today. So our plan of going down there to watch the Ravens game fell through. And then we all sort of like looked at each other and it was like, does anyone really want to go anywhere?
Well, not me. Yeah. I was looking at the inside of my...
eyeballs?
My nightshade.
Yeah.
Because now I wear a sleep mask, which, by the way, I highly recommend. It really, really helps. You get a good night's sleep if you just block out all the sound and all the light and just get on a man on an island, I guess. But anyway, so I was still sleeping because that's how little I cared about it. Didn't wake up again to change my fantasy.
Yeah.
forgot to wake up and change my fantasy team for a second week in a row. And for a second week in a row, I am decimating the coupling that is Corey and Rachel. Putting a hurt on them.
Womp womp.
80-point win last week.
Yeah.
Probably going to be another 60-point win this week.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on with fantasy. I've
Rob
lost.
has found the key to fantasy. That's what's going on.
See,
with
I
it.
think the problem is that whenever you find yourself, so much of it is kind of luck. Like, I mean, not like luck in the sense that like certain players aren't better than other ones. But let me put it this way: with fantasy baseball, I drafted Jacob deGrom, who I thought was going to be a perfectly fine pitcher, maybe
Sure.
a Cy Young Award winner.
Sure.
But nobody could have foreseen that he was going to be the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball this year. That was a little bit of luck there. Much
Right.
like I drafted Melvin Gordon in the first round.
Yeah.
And I could have drafted David Johnson, but
Yeah.
I didn't. I took Melvin Gordon, and just by the luck of picking later and not having the choice of David Johnson over Melvin Gordon.
Or Le'Veon Bell,
Or whoever. Yeah, I mean, like,
who's sitting on my bench.
any number of things could have changed that would have made this, like, different. But I think that because you have a very loaded team, you feel like it's all skill in your
First of all,
foresight.
loaded team. We all drafted at the same rate.
Yeah.
I reached down to get Adam Thielen, who
Yeah.
put up 25 points for me today.
Right.
I mean, it's all about skill. It's a skill. It's managing your team and who are you playing. I made a couple faux pas because I listened to other people and pulled out players that I had trust in.
I am right in the middle of the feast or famine of the feast or famine league. That's basically my life.
You're in
right
the
now.
famine right now.
Well, no, it's just it's all feast or famine. Because
Well,
I
the
have,
last
these-
couple
I have
weeks have
like
been
I have
pretty
Melvin
famine-y.
Gordon going 35 points, and then I
Yeah.
got like Jared Goff going 8. So I can't
Those
I
interceptions will
can't
kill
win.
you.
I
Interceptions
can't
will
win.
kill you. Anyway, but in real life, the Ravens won, even though we didn't get to see it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you? I know you're super paranoid. Not paranoid. What's it? Where you don't
Superstitious?
Shave. Superstitious, right? Superstitious. So we've not seen them twice. We didn't get to watch them twice. They won both times. We've watched them 3 times.
And they've only won
lost.
once.
Oh no! Didn't they? They lost all the ones we watched.
No.
Did they win one?
Yeah, they beat the Steelers.
Ah, right. Oh, we watched it on Sunday. That's right, Thursday
Yeah.
night. Yes. So
They
Sunday
lost the Thursday night.
one on Sunday night.
Yeah, and they lost this past week when I went to go see them at the Browns,
Yes.
which was inexcusable.
So,
Uh,
what do you think, Mr. Superstitious?
No, I'll go see as many as I can. I don't think it has anything to do with whether or not I'm there.
But you having a beard through the playoffs helps your hockey team win?
Well, apparently not, because once I shaved it, they started winning. So
Maybe we should accept
maybe
the
there's
fact.
a cosmic thing going on in the opposite direction in that one.
Yes. That's my point. My point is that perhaps you're bad luck for your favorite teams. Maybe you're bad luck Chuck.
How could if I was bad luck Chuck, then like everything would be terrible all the time. I mean, like the Ravens have won Super Bowls. The Caps have won a Stanley Cup. I can't like.
Yeah, but they won a Stanley Cup when you were like, screw this team. I'm shaving my beard. I'm not
No,
doing
I didn't say that. I said I gotta change up the mojo, and that's what I did, and then they won.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you know, and who knows? It might be somebody else who's responsible for all those terrible Caps losses. And let me tell you this: if I find out who you are, I'm gonna be very mean to you in public. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm just gonna. Your shoes are funny, and the person's gonna cry and be like, "I didn't mean that." That'll be the extent of my harassing of this person.
So in other news, Baltimore related, Manny Machado is exactly the player that we thought he was.
Just on the Dodgers.
Just apparently not on the Orioles. That's the problem. We've been fortunate enough to be able to watch the Dodgers play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he is doing an excellent job. I think the other parts of the team have kind of let down. I mean, his defense has been great. He hit the home run in the first inning to put them out in front.
Yeah, I mean it's a good team. I think that all the teams that are in the Final Four for the World Series right now are all very capable teams.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see the eventual World Series matchup, for which I hope it is the Dodgers versus
Astros.
Sure.
I'd prefer not to see the Red Sox in.
I mean, like I anything that doesn't give New England joy is good with me.
Yeah,
But like
100%.
they had their. I believed in them when it was the 2004 Red Sox, and I was like, I'm gonna hitch my. You guys need something good to happen to you, and now I'm like, you've had enough.
How much Tom Brady do you have?
Going back for your 9th plate of sushi, you've had enough. Like,
Well, somebody needs to tell you that when you're at the lunchtime sushi buffet. But the one thing I don't like about Manny right now is he's taken to doing the
the money.
But who was it? The quarterback.
Oh, I know.
The Browns, but Johnny Manziel. With like, no. Like, come on. All right, listen, that's not who you are. Let's not do that. I mean, yes, somebody's going to pay you a ridiculous amount of money after this season. It doesn't really matter how it works out.
I am a little bit like something about the players gesturing back to the rest of the team in the dugout.
Yeah,
is kind of like I think it's overplayed a little bit because the gestures have become so ridiculous. Like, have you been watching some of the postseason baseball? Like,
no,
you'll just see like Manny Machado hit like a single to first, and then he'll get on first base, and he looks over at the dugout, and it's like,
yeah.
And I'm like,
that's what we did in Major League.
What do these things mean?
That's what we did in minor league and Major League Baseball. It's like holy shit, I got on base.
It's like the base coach like having all the signs that they like steal second. And, like Manny's over there going like, I am the Beard King. Like,
I do like what team was it that did the it was the Royals. Now I immediately regret saying I liked
engine
it. No, they were doing like just the hat tip. Just they get on base, hat tip back to the dugout. Like that's small and classy. I get that. Not the Beard King. Which whatever.
I'm looking forward to somebody like just start dancing on first base, like full up like Michael Jackson routine.
Get tagged out, steps off the bag, gets tagged out. Anyway. So that's all I really have to say about sports. You have anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. So yeah, another great thing that happened this week, other than baseball and the Ravens winning, Corey and I made our. I would say this has been a triumphant return to the cinema week.
Yes.
Not since the heyday of
MoviePass
did we see so many movies in a 1 week period.
Yeah.
So we recorded last week on Monday, and since that time, I have been to the movies 3 times in the last week.
And I've been twice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
One time we went together, which was Venom in 4DX.
Yes.
And I think we've been talking
for which a full scale review is coming up tomorrow. It's already ready in the queue, ready to go.
Wait. And are you saying that Corey Baker Filmmaker has a topical review coming on YouTube? Not one that's 7 months after it debuts?
First of all, not 7 months, more like 7 weeks. No, I'm just kidding. I've decided that I'm going to start doing Thursdays. I got A Star Is Born that I have to record and go out this Thursday, but tomorrow I will be putting up the brand new Venom one and then getting us into the Thursdays deal. So,
but we've been talking about the 4DX theater at Regal for at least 18 months now. I mean, since we moved here.
I went. I've
That's
gone
what you
before.
went before, right? What movie did you see the first time you went there?
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
And I feel like that would also be a great. Wait. So you've seen 2 movies in 4DX, both of which are superhero movies.
Both of which are in the Spider-Man universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is strange.
Yeah, and that was a big part of my Venom review too, which is like basically talking about like where the fuck is Spider-Man, which is my big complaint.
Well,
like,
I imagine. Well, one, this Venom exists outside of the Marvel universe, right? No, are they saying it's in the universe?
Well, I mean, what they're saying is what Sony is saying, who owns the rights to Venom,
for now,
is that. I mean, they're owned by Fox.
Yeah, listen, Sony.
Everything else is owned by Disney, and they sort of get like the okay from Disney to allow them to use. Like that's why Iron Man was in Homecoming and stuff like that,
because he got to use.
Like,
no, all I'm saying is that Fox withheld some of the Marvel rights, and Disney said, "Oh, okay, we'd like those back," and they said no, and then so they bought Fox. You're like, okay.
Well, no, this is actually one of the rare ones that I think is Sony.
Okay.
So Sony had the rights to a couple of the like Fox had X-Men and like Fantastic Four and stuff like that.
Deadpool.
And Sony had the rights to like Spider-Man and any of the Spider-Man related universe and stuff like that. So part of the Marvel universe is clinched in with Disney buying Fox, but there's still the Sony ones that are out there.
Right. So the general rule is I think they went by the first appearance rule. So anyone who first appeared in Spider-Man, the rights to those were sold with Spider-Man.
I think so, yeah.
Anyone who first appeared in the X-Men series got sold with the X-Men. So the Fantastic Four are great. They first appeared, though, in an X-Men series, and then they became their own branch off.
But
Same
so
with a bunch
this
of
is
others.
this was my point with Venom. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
40X was fun as well. If you were anywhere close to a 40X theater, I would say go for it.
Absolutely. If there is a movie to see in 40X that, everyone was saying, oh, go see this, go see that. And I'm like, listen, it does 5 things. I want a movie that takes advantage of all 5 aspects of the 40X theater. Venom's the one.
Yeah. But basically how Venom got his power is because first the symbiote came down to Earth in some way or another, because there's different origins of like how the symbiote made it to Earth. But
this is a new story. I haven't seen that one in the comics, by the way.
Right. And
I think this is just
every single version of it, it hooks up with Spider-Man and then sort of gains some of Spider-Man's powers through osmosis. And then once Peter Parker and Spider-Man reject Venom, it goes to
Eddie Brock.
And
if you remember
Eddie Brock,
first
and
version?
then all the other ones like Riot and Carnage and all these sort of like variations of the symbiote break off of Venom.
Right.
So the reason why there is a Carnage is because it breaks off of Venom, and then that gives you the opportunity to have like good guy Spider-Man, neutral guy Venom, and bad guy Carnage
all together
when you have them all in the same universe.
Yeah.
But I mean, like not having the setup of Carnage gets his powers because he's linked with Spider-Man, and just not having anything to do with Spider-Man at all in this movie is a little bit confusing.
So yes, you are right. In a way, most of the links of Venom do come that way, that they meet up with Spider-Man, including the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
3, yeah.
3, right? Yeah, where it takes it
Topher
over him.
Grace's Venom.
Yes. And all of a sudden, because he flops his hair to the opposite side, every woman in New York wants him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Doing
and
his
then,
Pete Wentz routine.
Yeah. So Topher, not Topher Grace. Tobey Maguire is the most wanted man in New York. When he does his Pete Wentz routine, and then he rejects it, and it goes to Topher Grace, who then becomes some weird, like, he gets canines somehow.
Yeah.
Like his canines grow. I don't. It was very confusing. But nonetheless,
Not like logic should be applied to Spider-Man 3 that much.
right.
But.
Yeah, I mean, but I will say that there are versions of Venom though that never actually the symbiote never combines with Tobey Maguire. That it is separate.
Right, but I mean, like at some point, you would imagine that if you own the rights to Spider-Man, and you own the rights to Venom, you're going to want to put them together at some point.
Right, and they
But
will.
if
This
part
is
of-
going to be them fighting.
If
Eventually.
part of the logic of Venom having powers that Spider-Man can't work against is because he's got parts of Spider-Man's DNA as part of the Venom suit, like that's part of the deal, you know.
But I don't think that's it's all the stuff that they showed in the first Venom.
I mean,
are
it'd be like
Spider-Man-esque.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's like like the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movies. If
Yeah.
the original Green Goblin didn't exist, then there wouldn't be a second, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Because it needed the first to exist in order for the second.
But Venom doesn't need Spider-Man to exist.
And every single other version of it, I mean, like,
Not every single version. That's my point.
I'm just saying
they went and they chose one.
I mean, it feels to me just like anytime you make a superhero movie and you decide to deviate,
Yeah.
that's when it spells bad news for your superhero movie. I mean, like anytime I've heard like oh, we're gonna have a Superman without a cape and he's not gonna have the same old stupid backstory. Like that's a Superman that fails. Like
Yeah. I counteract you with Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's in this one, so I think you're probably fine.
I like.
I will
him.
go see
I like
whatever
him.
Tom Hardy does.
Yeah, I like it. It's fine. I'm all I'm saying is like it's way better if you can just go in there and just say like I'm not going to pay attention to anything. I'm just going to see things explode, and that's like the
Fast and
the
Furious
Fast
rule?
Furious rule.
Yeah.
It's exactly in there as a Fast and Furious contender for that reason.
I will say I'm not really sure I like the Woody Harrelson as Carnage, and I don't know how they're going to make Carnage into Carnage.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if I don't like the hair either. Like it
Yeah.
just seems a bit much. It
Not
seems
really
like you remember how Thanos was different in earlier versions?
Yeah.
Like the first time we saw Thanos like just sitting on a throne somewhere.
Like, in shadow.
He was like completely different than he is now.
Yeah. Well, then they have to put him into a world interacting with people. He
Right,
can't be,
right,
like,
right.
90 feet tall or whatever he looked like on the thing. Anyway, so we went to saw Venom 40X. Highly recommend it in 40X. It takes advantage of the entire system, which is what I was looking for my first 40X experience. Having a hurt back and going in, little rough on the back with the jerking and the like.
Also, the trying to pass popcorn back and forth, and the whole seat's like.
It's not great. I wish I would have thought about that before we went in. Like maybe popcorn wasn't the best idea. And then we sat it on the floor, but the seat knocked it over at one point. Like, all right, just
I had
screw
to
it.
do the move where I was trying to kick it a little bit further away from the seat.
But like, it's not even the movement with the movie. Like, it moved with the camera at some points too.
Yeah.
Like, as the camera swung around, you felt like the seat move, and you're like, I'm okay with that. Like, but by the way,
I guess we should explain just up top, like not up top, way past,
way past. We
way
buried
past
the
up
lead
top.
on that. Yeah.
4DX is it's a 3D movie, but you're on a seat that moves. So if you've ever heard of like a motion machine, it's kind of a similar idea.
Yeah.
So like it'll like pivot back and forth and like roll left and right and like
Sweep. I think a little.
yeah,
it was like sweeping a bit.
The whole chair moves. So
Yeah.
like if you're in a car chase, like you follow with the car and like you feel the bumps of like
Right.
going over the road.
And if somebody
stuff.
runs into the back of you, this thing comes out and
Yeah,
punches you in the back.
you just feel it. And at one point, it just punched me in the back and then just stayed there like Rachel in Sleep. Like,
And you're just like, oh god, I was sitting there.
Ow.
I'm like, I think my chair is broken.
I'm gonna have to go
pretty
sleep
sure
on the couch. Can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's a lot of. Oh, it also has wind and rain and smoke and fog and
Yeah.
all these other effects. So like, and scent. So like, if you were, it's just like, hey, let's drop into a strawberry field. You would smell strawberries.
But
like,
at one point we dropped into a pine forest, and there was like a little bit of a pine smell, and it
Yeah.
was like foggy, and then there was like rain, and you felt it was Venom is perfect for 40X.
Yeah.
Go find it 40X. And quickly, because I realized we went on about Venom for a while there. A Star Is Born.
Yep.
Also, both saw that this week.
Separately from one
Separately,
another. But
yes. You'll see the review for that coming up on Corey Baker's
Thursday.
Filmmaker.
CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com.
There you go. Yeah. And I highly recommend that as well. Corey, you have to wait to hear what Corey has to say, but I say go see it. Definitely an Oscar contender. Yesterday, I went and saw. Check it out on Thursday. That's Corey's response. I saw First Man yesterday. I also think it's an Oscar contender.
That's the one I really want to see.
Yeah.
I'm upset that I haven't. Rachel's been dying to see A Star Is Born. I think every woman in America has been dying to see A Star Is
Yes.
Born. I just think
Yeah.
that it's had that like energy going on about it for a couple weeks now, like ever since the trailer came out.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, I First Man is like definitely the one I want to see because I'm big into Damien Chazelle.
Yep.
And the first two have been wonderful, and I'm looking forward to a continuation of this. And it's always nice when you can catch like a new filmmaker like right at the beginning of their careers, and you don't feel like you've missed any. Like by the time we were old enough to go see movies, like Martin Scorsese and
Was already Martin Scorsese. Yeah.
Steven Spielberg already had like a dozen movies
Robert
that we hadn't seen.
Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, all those guys. I mean, we were just discussing how before that we went live.
Well, like in the '90s, we would catch Rodriguez and Tarantino.
But see, you and I weren't really going to the movies by ourselves until like the very late '90s and the early 2000s.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
And
I
Robert
guess I did
Rodriguez
catch up on those. Like,
he was doing the mariachi in '94. You know what I mean? Like, and Quentin Tarantino did Pulp Fiction in '94. So we still caught them like 6 movies in, 4, 5, 6 movies in. Not like where you saw Damien Chazelle. Like, you saw Whiplash coming in theater the first time.
I was just thinking about this. I think Pulp Fiction might have been my first R-rated movie.
Did you go see it in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in today in 1994, actually.
Really?
Debuted today. Yeah, it was on my time hop today in 1994.
Wow. Because I always thought it was Judge Dredd, but that was '95.
Yep. So it had to be.
Yeah. My
Pulp
dad
Fiction.
took me that time. I was 9 years old.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
We have this to thank. We have this to thank because of you taking him to see Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I will also say, saw First Man. I recommend people go to see it. I will wait and discuss it when Corey has a chance to see it. But also watch The First on Hulu. If you have Hulu, go watch The First. It's not about going to the moon. It's actually about the first man mission to Mars. But Sean Penn as the lead character.
Yeah.
God, it's just got like a star-studded cast, and now that I'm trying to remember their names, I can't. The French woman is the
French woman?
Laz in it. Yeah, I can't remember. She's been in stuff before.
Marion Cotillard?
No, although that's who I immediately thought it was, but it's not her. Anyway, it's got a really good cast, and you should check it out. But it's available on Hulu. It's not what you think it is. If you're like, oh, I don't really like space stuff, it's not really about space at all. It's about like that program is a.
Yeah, I'm not a space person, and I was watching it, and it was.
Did you like it?
I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just sort of like got bits and pieces of
Yeah.
it, but I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah, so it uses the space program as a motivator for the story, but that's not what it's about. It's about the astronauts, really. It's a people story. So I enjoyed that. Check that out. What's her
Do you
name?
want to?
So she's not French. Natasha McGowan is who I was talking about. Who else do I recognize here? James Ranson. Oded Fair. D.W. Moffat.
Lots of good character actors.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
there's people who I would name and you would have no idea, but then I'll show you the picture. You'd be like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. There's a documentary like that I've been meaning to see.
Isn't it called like Oh That Guy?
Yeah, I
That
think
guy
it's
from
called
that thing?
like oh You're That Guy or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good cast. It is a really good cast. Anyway, and it spans like
I feel that
6 years or something.
I've
like
been
that, so.
watching. I've been catching up on Billions as I go to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
or every night for the last couple weeks here.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way with. Oh God, I'm trying to find his name because I don't even remember his name. He's just one of those guys. David Costable. This guy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's from.
He's in Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad,
and-
yeah.
He's but he's in all sorts of things.
He's
Like,
that
a
guy.
great character actor.
Yep.
And he's great in Billions too. I really enjoy it. Anyway.
Oh, he is good in Billions.
Yeah.
We gotta watch Billions more. Anyway, all right. So we went to the. So here's the thing: Movie Pass, for all its failures, it got us to the movie so often,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish that the Regal downtown was actually an AMC because I would sign up for the
Yeah.
A plus. But we don't have an AMC that's really close enough to justify that.
I'm honestly thinking about making the switch to Cinemia.
Cinemia. Yeah.
Yeah, just because.
You have to pay all the way up front though, the year up front. It's like $350 up front, and this Movie Pass
But-
thing has got me a little anxious about paying up front.
If you're paying for the unlimited plan though,
yes,
you could still pay monthly for like a certain number of movies.
3.
planned. Yeah.
but then you're paying more for the 3 movies.
You're paying the same amount, and you can reserve ahead of time, and you could go to theaters like ArcLight and stuff.
I want the unlimited.
Okay.
I want the ability to go back and do 3 movies or 4 movies a week
Yeah.
because I feel like
See,
that was
here's-
our prime, right?
I
We were
think
seeing
the
so many
problem
movies.
too, because when we signed up for Movie Pass originally, we were doing the ones at like it was Oscar season, so we
Yeah.
were picking up all the
Yeah.
Best Picture nominees and like anything. Like it's just like, oh, we need to see,
3 billboards.
Yeah,
that was the
like-
first one we saw.
yeah. Like we need to see all these movies to clear out the list.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it got to summer, really, it seemed like we slowed down just because the movies were so horrible.
Well, no, they were horrible, but remember that the first move was that they cut the movies.
Yeah.
So one of the first times that we like decided not to go to the movies was it just wasn't available on the app and we couldn't find it anywhere. And then the story came out 3 days later, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're not making everything available anymore. Things are looking a little iffy. And then one time we tried to go, but nobody's app was working.
Right.
And then it come to find out they ran out of money the day before.
Yeah.
So they had to get a new funding.
Now
So-
apparently they have $65 million in additional funding, so they got another like 2 months of.
But no, some of that was already from before. It wasn't all. It's not all new. It's like it's a whole thing. And listen,
know-
I'm in. I'm still paying for my Movie Pass. I have not used it. Haven't used it.
It's funny. The other thing too is that I was watching. We were watching the '90s, the CNN documentary series thing going on, and they were talking about Amazon and Bezos and stuff like that, and it made me think back about like how Amazon lost money for like pretty much every year of its existence.
Yes, and
Up
still in some ways is losing money.
Yeah,
Different
but I mean, like,
departments inside.
still like as of like 10 years ago, it was never making any money, and
Yeah.
it was just consistently losing money. But people were just like, no, it's gonna make money eventually. We just got to keep feeding the beast.
Yeah.
Like I wish the same people who invested in Amazon invested in Movie Pass, where it's just like, listen, at some point in 10 years, it's gonna start making money. In the meantime, we just got to feed $20 million a month into it.
I mean, like in the end, though, if I was Jeff Bezos, I would be investing in Movie Pass because he built Amazon knowing that at some point it's not a product company, it's a data company.
Yeah.
We know what people like. Those suggestions that they make you are scary accurate. When
Yeah.
at least for me, for my Amazon ordering, I mean, it gets a little bit off when I order stuff for other people. But like, if you check the box that this is a gift, then it doesn't like associate it with you. But some of those suggestions, I'm like, I would really like this thing. Maybe I should just add it on. It's only another $75, right? And I get free shipping. Yeah, sure, why not? But if somebody saw that MoviePass was a data company,
I will say this: I do hate. In terms of the internet's data collection and stuff like that, that I've lost the ability to peacefully just go into a theoretical flight of fancy because of the data track.
So it throws off all your ads.
Let me put it this way: my friend Motaz was going. I went to go see him last week, and he said, "I'm going to New York this week for a film festival." I'm like, "Oh, that's great!" And then I came home. And I was just like, bullshitting around the computer. And I was just like, I wonder if if Motaz said I could stay with him, how much it would cost to fly to and from New York? Is this even like a consideration?
Yeah.
And then I go and I'm searching like New York flights and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, it's not even worth it. I can't even go to, I would have to plan a New York trip better than do it the week of. But then I got an email almost immediately from Expedia going like, hey, you want to go to New York? I wasn't searching for this on Expedia. Just randomly, it's just like, hey, heard you want to go to New York. I'm like, no, delete. And then like in Facebook, it's just like, hey, New York's really nice this time of year. I'm like, shut up. Like,
do you want to list of things to do in New York? Got some time to burn? Here's a couple of things you could do.
Google's just like the best new restaurants in New York. I'm just like, shut up, everybody. I can't do it right now. I was just looking. I was just testing the thing.
Yeah, that's why you got to go in incognito mode all the time.
It's like one of those things like, I wonder how much it takes to fly to Abu Dhabi. And then for a whole month, I'm just getting Abu Dhabi shit.
I did put in Hopper. Hopper is an app that lets you like research the cost of flights and into the future. So it's like, I'd like to take this flight on this day. And then for a little bit of time, they'll email you basically every day and say, hey, your flight's more expensive or less expensive, more expensive or less expensive. And depending on how far out you are, it'll be like once a month, once a week, once a day with the changes, or they just also send you big changes in the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a while after that, I was getting like, do you want to stay at the Days Inn of Easter Island? And I'm like, did you look at how much the flights were? No, it's like $6,000 and it's a 25-hour flight. I'm good. Thank you. But it's like local ads for Easter Island.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, so I think we're done with all the fun stuff for the week. Can we agree? Can we agree we're done with the fun?
No more fun.
No more fun. Let's talk about how we are officially in the end of days. Now, you spent a lot more time in the Catholic Church than I did. And,
yes.
So let me tell you, do you know the story of the Four Horsemen? Do you remember what the Four Horsemen are?
Oh, yeah, and death rode upon them and stuff.
Right, death rode upon a pale horse. Do you remember what the other three horsemen were?
Not offhand.
It's disease.
Famine is one of them.
Pestilence and famine. Is that what the
so.
four ones are?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go through. So disease, pestilence, famine.
Yeah.
And death.
Yeah.
Let's go through the U.S. this week and figure out which of the four horsemen have visited upon the U.S. this week. Let's start with disease. So a couple big stories this week.
Well,
one right here in
one
LA,
coming out of the second biggest city in the country,
which is always good news. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, not far. Like seriously, 10 blocks away from here is Skid Row, and there has been a breakout of typhus in Skid Row.
Typhus
from the rats and the garbage and the homeless and the fact that nobody has anywhere to put any of these
Yes.
things. Typhus, which famously used to be typhoid fever if you used to play Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember it from that.
Yeah.
Which is, in its worst case scenario, basically like the plague, right? Like it's like one of those ones where like you're vomiting your guts up. Like,
fever and vomiting and death. Death is the important part.
It's like you get to the point where you're like vomiting blood constantly if you go untreated.
Yes. Yeah. And unlike so many of these lovely diseases, it has a long incubation period in which you are still contagious, but not showing any outward signs. It's a devious disease in that way. And it's broken out in the second largest city in the country.
Right. Hooray!
10 blocks from us. Yay!
Oh, such a joy.
So, yeah. And as you said, it's infamous for being on the Oregon Trail because it's where humans don't take care of their shit and garbage and then eat things that are nearby or get exposed to things that are nearby their shit and garbage and then therefore get the virus.
And then also the spreading of the rats is so there's been a lot of people for the last couple years, I guess, who've been constantly saying, "Hey, LA is like right on the precipice of like a catastrophic health disaster.
Yeah.
That could start at any point and when half the population is dead. Like we're so close, and people don't even realize how close it is to certain peril here. And this is like one of those like early warning signs that like shit might be afoot.
This feeds into pestilence, where also in LA, in a suburb called Van Nuys, rats have taken over an entire neighborhood, by the way. People are afraid to go out of their house at night. And the rats are so brave that they are breaking into people's houses and terrorizing them. So, in the city... In the city of Los Angeles.
All I was thinking about is like a rat, like they're getting to the point where they're putting on masks and getting knives and like, put them up.
In the city of Los Angeles, we have a pestilence-borne disease outbreak and a pestilence outbreak within 15, 20 miles of each other. All good news. All good news in the second largest city in the world. Or in the country, sorry. Second largest city in the country. So that's pestilence.
We got that one
disease.
covered.
Well, let's go back to disease, though, because in New York, there was an outbreak of whooping cough recently. Now, whooping cough, you'd say, you know what? That sounds familiar. I feel like when I was a kid, I got vaccinated against whooping cough. You might say that, right?
Yeah, I got vaccinated against whooping cough.
And then for those of us who went to college, we actually got a second vaccine amongst the booster that you have to get before they let you live on campus. So you might ask yourself, how is it that we could have an outbreak of something that everyone our age and older got vaccinated against? What might be the answer to that, Corey?
Some people didn't get vaccinated against it.
Yeah, true. And in the years since then, people have actively decided not to vaccinate against it. So the way that vaccines work is none of them are 100% effective. And just like the flu vaccine, I might get the flu vaccine. Corey and I get the same version of the flu vaccine. Mm-hmm. But there are 4 or 5 different versions of flu out there at any one time.
Yeah.
And I happen to get one for which the vaccine is 50% effective, which means I get a headache and some body aches, but one day off work.
You get a really bad cold.
Yes. I push myself through. I take one day off work, and then I'm good. Corey gets one that it's 0% effective against, and he gets a week in bed and the full 9.
Yeah.
And then Rachel gets a third different version. She also has the vaccine, but it's 100% effective. So even though she may never know she was exposed to it at all.
Right.
It goes in her system fights it off, and it's done. So whooping cough works the same way. Except for...
well, it's also one that needs a mass...
herd.
It needs to have enough people around where it can't expose and spread the disease.
Yes.
That's part of the problem.
Yes. So when you have a bunch of kids who haven't been vaccinated because their parents are idiots and don't understand that vaccines are safe, then one kid gets exposed to it somewhere and then shares it amongst a group of 50 kids, of which only half are vaccinated. So half of the unvaccinated kids get sick. And then it turns out that the vaccinations aren't 100% effective, and 50% of the vaccinated kids get sick. And then the disease mutates, and oh, hey, now 100% of those kids are now sick with either the original or the mutated virus. And there's an outbreak. And whooping cough causes scarring of the lungs, pneumonia-like symptoms that can last for the rest of your life. People have coughed so hard that it separates the muscle wall from the rib cage. Mm-hmm. And then every time you get a cold, you basically feel like you want to die anytime you have to cough.
That's what happened to Sammy Sosa.
What, he got whooping cough?
He coughed so hard that he threw out his back.
Yeah. So imagine that horribleness. Mm-hmm. And all of this because you didn't vaccinate so hard. Kids. What's that?
He sneezed so hard. Yeah.
So, there we go. Disease back in the news. And I guess death, who came in on a pale horse, also in the news this week, somewhat related, because Saudis in Turkey may or may not allegedly have assassinated.
Probably may.
Probably may.
Probably almost definitely may have.
But listen, if the Saudis are listening, I'm saying allegedly.
Yeah.
Assassinated a member of the free press.
Yeah. I would like it if allegedly and Saudi was almost definitely, like if you translated it, like
to almost definitely.
It sounds like a word that's almost definitely. And then when Google does the transcription of what we were saying, it's just like Saudi Arabia. Just in case they're listening, most definitely did this.
So I want to remind everyone that Saudi Arabia is on the Human Rights Council of the UN. This doesn't seem like something that they would do.
I would also like to point out that Saudi Arabia is that really shitty friend that you always have to make like points of. It's like a lot of ex-girlfriends have complained about how shitty Rob is. Not to them,
Really?
but I'm saying like like
I don't
after
feel
you
like
break
that's
up,
true.
it's like they always like to like when you're together, it's like, oh my god, he's the best guy ever. It's like the second you break up, it's like that small dick motherfucker. Like that. Saudi Arabia is the friend you have who's always doing shitty ass things, and you have to be like, oh, that's just sort of how they are, because you're trying to stay friends with them because
Right.
they have so much money and they take care of you.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, you got to be like, every once in a while, you be like, no, that was wrong what Saudi Arabia did this time. I'm gonna have a talk with Saudi Arabia about this.
We're going to have a stern talking.
Yeah.
Stern.
Then they get in a room together and it's just like, dude, come on. Don't do this to me.
Killing
Like,
me.
I'm trying to defend you. You're always killing people. Like, why can't you just give it to yourself?
You're always killing people. God. Yeah, I'm into that. But luckily,
Did you know Rob's killed like 20 people? I'm like, yeah, but he's got a lot of other good things going on about him. Like, I don't think we should just focus all on the murder. Like, the alleged murder.
alleged. Anyway, so
By Faux.
there was supposed to be a conference of some variety embracing the free press in Saudi Arabia in like 2 weeks. And luckily, a lot of countries and a lot of representatives are pulling out, and they're saying, hey, until we figure out what happened to this guy, we really can't be coming to your country for a freedom of the press celebration. Says it turns out we have video of this guy walking into the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey and then
Coming out in 4 cars.
never coming out again. And everyone's like, well, no, he came out. We came in, we talked to him, he left. And they're like, yeah, but there's no video. We got video of him going in.
Yeah.
We don't got video of him coming out. And so, I mean, they probably do. Yeah, the trash truck is on video at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they do have video of him coming out. But so Death, who rode in on a pale horse, also there. What was the last one? I don't remember. Pestilence, death, famine. But, I mean, well,
That's sort of
this is the world.
inconsistent. Yeah.
I was going to say, hunger is basically a thing, right? So I guess we don't really have to.
Like once God brings up once all the people go floating up to heaven, what's that thing called again?
The rapture?
Rapture.
Yeah.
Once the rapture happens and they get up and it's just like, I saw a pestilence and I saw death and I didn't say famine. It's just like, dude, look around you for the last like fucking 30 years. Are you serious? You haven't seen famine?
I sent him first. He didn't wait for the carpool.
I let him get an early start, get everything ready. Did you not know that like 60% of American kids don't get enough to eat it?
Yeah. 1 in 5 children are hungry right now. 3 in 5 are food insecure. American children.
I've been doing this for a while. You guys didn't notice?
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
What did you talk about at church all week?
The gays. We talk about the gays.
They look so happy and I don't like it.
Listen, if I have to have some woman bitching in my ear every day, so do you.
Listen, they're having fun. They go to bars.
No kids. No kids. How dare you?
They have disposable income.
Dinks. They're dinks. This is not okay. Wait, what's DINK stand for? Double income, no kids.
Yeah.
Double income, no kids. It's ridiculous. I'm living that life.
They
now.
don't get
It's not-
pregnant. Don't have to worried about being paid 75 cents on the dollar.
Well, I mean, there are lesbians. Both of them get paid 75 cents. on
Oh,
the
that's
dollar.
true. Yeah.
Rude. Hashtag socially acceptable homophobia.
That's not true at all.
I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back.
All right, next one.
All right. What else do we have? Oh, is idiocy one of the horsemen?
It should be.
Because Trump met with Kanye today or this week in what can only be described as, I don't know, a guy punching himself in the face over and over and over again. I just don't know how stupid of a situation you have to have. Two guys. I don't know.
The part that upsets me the most is that like the number of rings you have to jump through to get yourself to this place of like
Into the White House?
no. Like so. Imagine for a second that you're a hardcore Republican, like you're a Fox News loyalist. You watch Hannity every night, you know?
Okay, so my name is Corey, and I live in L.A. Go ahead.
My name's Corey. I'm an alcoholic. No. So think for a second about how just earlier this year you were saying LeBron James should shut up and stick to basketball or shut up and dribble. That was Laura Ingraham earlier this year.
Yep.
And Colin Kaepernick for the last couple of years of like, don't involve
play
your
sports.
politics in my sports.
Yep.
And now you're saying Kanye West is the champion of the right for talking about how everyone else looks down on Donald Trump and we should listen to Kanye West, but no, shut up and stick to music or whatever the hell you call that.
I mean, he hasn't really made music in a while either. Even if you call it music, it hasn't been that album.
I mean, he's
wasn't
released
good.
albums.
No,
but
it wasn't good.
like technically, it's just file size.
He produced it, but he had other people on like every single song on that album. It was somebody. And did you see his performance on SNL?
No, I
People
heard
were
about
updating me about it. Like basically, he was just like so fucked up. He had to
he's
have
like
people
got a
cover him.
Perrier water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
When you're on stage with like Lil Xan or whoever it was who was on there with you, and that guy's more sober than you are, it's a His name is Lil Xan. It's Lil Pump. That guy is high all the time, and you're more fucked up than him. It's a problem, man.
Yeah, I honestly didn't want anything to do with it. I
didn't watch it.
I would really upset me if I dedicated energy to this.
On the plus side, Kanye's code to his phone is 000000. So that's
really?
care. Yeah,
Did he do that on
TV?
Yeah.
On TV, he opened his phone
Yeah.
and showed Trump something. So
I like
you
to.
know.
I'm such a genius. I'm gonna make my code 00000.
No one will ever figure that out. It'll be fine.
It's the one that came with the phone, Kanye. It's the code.
No.
The code the phone came with.
The one the phone came with was 4 zeros. I added 2 more zeros. All right, so there.
Nobody guesses 6 zeros.
It's not like it has 6 dots at the top telling me I need to have 6 digits. Because the one thing I love about like at least Android phones.
By the way, save Kanye, who said George Bush doesn't like black people.
Oh yeah, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Yeah.
You're right. And now all on board with the Trump train.
And slavery isn't real, and black people are responsible for it themselves, or the position they are in their lives, because slavery wasn't their choice; it was somebody else's choice. But they had a choice in whether or not somebody else had a choice.
Oh, and rescind the 13th Amendment.
Yeah,
which is the amendment that stopped servitude. What's wrong with you, Kanye? Jesus Christ!
I'd be like I remember I used to like Ainsley A's on West Wing.
Yes.
And she got into the thing about like we don't need the Equal Rights Amendment and the what was the amendment?
15th
Amendment.
14th
Amendment.
Yeah.
Because what's covered in the 14th Amendment also covers the Equal Rights Act and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's just like, so we don't need both of them. Let's just get rid of one. And I remember watching it, even though I was more likely to agree with Ainsley on these types of things. I was just like, well, I mean, like, it seems like a lot of work to just get rid of it. Why don't we just keep
Just
it?
have both. Why don't we have
Keep it
both?
and just ignore it. Like,
Why not both?
yeah.
Yeah. But so President is meeting with Kanye again. Just the blind
While
leading
a
the blind in that
hurricane,
meeting.
while a hurricane's going on, by the
And
way.
the thing that, like, my favorite thing about Twitter right now is there's a tweet for everything, because 4 years ago he was chastising President Obama for a meeting with Jay-Z and Beyonce on the road during a hurricane. Well, he met with Kanye in the White House during a hurricane.
Right.
So, and no thought about the irony of that whatsoever. Just no statement about it. Good news is, though, that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, probably violated the Hatch Act twice while Kanye was in the White House. So that'll be a nice $2,000 fine and no penalty whatsoever.
Right.
Nikki Haley's leaving the UN.
Yeah.
Found out today that she actually had 2 Hatch Act violations that she paid fines for last year. But she's leaving the UN. Going to be replaced by Ivanka, probably. So,
Except that she can't be. So
mean, you say that.
Let's not even entertain the.
You say that.
Something tells me if I feel like there's too many people in the White House going like, oh, well, let's see if we can figure out some sort of way to make Trump happy. I feel like if there's just one person in the White House who, like, when Trump's going like, can we just make Ivanka UN ambassador? He's just like, nope, that's illegal. He'd be like, oh, well, it would have been really great if it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then move on. In the meantime, there's like people like Jared going like, I don't know, maybe we can examine some sort of backdoor way to get. And then he gets in his head like,
I'm gonna do this.
Ivanka's gonna be there. Ivanka's gonna be there.
The
There's this
people
one
want
person
her.
up front who just goes like, hey, by the way, that's illegal. He's just like, oh shit. Oh well. Moving on.
I don't think that saying illegal though is the way to his heart. I would say something
All right,
like,
well,
the people aren't going to like that.
We got to go on to our
Trumpectionary?
second and third choices on the UN ambassador. Somebody get me the Hamburglar.
By the way, you know who's on the short list right now?
Who?
Joe Lieberman. By the way, Joe Lieberman, the Democratic senator from Connecticut. So if you thought...
The Republican Democratic
Yes.
senator.
If you thought for a second that the Democrats and the Republicans aren't just basically the same party, you're wrong.
Joe Lieberman is like Joe Manchin, except that none of it even fucking matters. Like with Joe Manchin, you could at least understand why he votes conservative from time to time. Like why he voted
Montana?
for West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah. He's in deep red West Virginia.
Yeah.
He's trying to do anything he can to hold it together. And when it comes time for super important Democratic votes, he's there. But any other time, he could vote any way he wants, just to keep the people in West Virginia happy. Joe Lieberman, on the other hand, was a registered Democrat who acted like a Republican, but rather than oh, I gotta appease the Republican people of Connecticut, was it? Or
yes,
Vermont?
Connecticut. I think he's in Connecticut. Pretty sure.
Somewhere up there in the New England area. But I'm
Doesn't
saying
matter. It's all Democrats.
Yeah, but he's just like, to appease the Republicans, I'm going to do this. No, he just did it because he fucking didn't even care.
Yeah.
He was part of the PTC, the Parent Television Council, which was led by L. Brent Bozell III, who was the grandson of L. Brent Bozell I, who was the chief of staff to Joseph McCarthy. And like, why are these people still around? It doesn't even make any fucking sense. They should have just been like pushed away. Like, it makes Joe Lieberman being in public service still makes as much sense as like a minstrel show being a part of like a stage production. Like, hey, before we watch Hamilton, we're gonna have a short little minstrel show go on. It's just like, why is this a part of what we're doing? Like, I feel like we can cut the first part. We can cut Joe Lieberman out of this. We don't need to do this anymore. We can move on to the real people. Like,
as Corey pointed out earlier, we were watching the '90s documentary on CNN, or from CNN, but on Netflix, and they were 92. We were watching the one about the election of 92. And when you see the faces in the election of 92, which by my count is 26 years ago, and those people are still in governance in one way or another. The only person who's not still in governance, by the way, are the two guys who were running for president who were made an issue out of it, Clinton and Bush. Otherwise, all the members of the Senate, still the same. Hillary Clinton, who was there, also there, still there. Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, we saw Brett Kavanaugh on the screen because he was part of the Ken Starr investigation.
Yes.
We can never avoid this.
By the way, the Ken Starr, or the investigation that I forgot, started with Whitewater and somehow got to a blue dress. How did that happen? And you Republicans are out there like, listen, I don't know why Mueller's like doing all of this investigation. Let's just chill out a little bit, okay? Like, there's no collusion.
You can't find anything on Russia, so all of a sudden it's about the $500 million in tax evasion that Trump did? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Just like, yeah, well, maybe it was a crime. Maybe you should look into it.
And again, you were the one pushing Ken Starr, who started out with a real estate deal in Arkansas and somehow made it all the way to blowjob
Linda Tripp and...
Yeah, blowjob in the Oval Office. So how does that make you... You're all hypocrites, and you all deserve to be lynched. That's what we need to do. We need to take them out and lynch all of them. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if lynch is the term I would use, but...
Well, guillotine them? I said that before.
Yeah,
you got all squeamish about guillotines and whatnot. I mean, it is what it is. But amongst their cadre...
I just know it. Again, the problem, going back to it all, is if only the Democrats at some point in time would stand up and say... I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not even a part of this stupid ass game. And this goes back to like the Clintons and it goes back to everything. Like just realize when something is terrible and you should just stop it and start over.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was listening. This came up a while back when I was listening to The Wilderness, that like podcast documentary on the Democratic Party.
Stop listening to that.
Well, no, it's over now. But I'm saying like who's the congressman from Minnesota? He's like the Bernie.
Paul.
No. I can't remember. Muslim.
Oh, the new guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But he basically at one point said like the best way to change the
He's not a
Democratic
senator.
Party.
He's in the House.
Yeah, he's in the House.
Yeah, he's a senator.
Oh, I said congressman.
Congressman. Yes, I don't know his name. But
Anyway,
yeah, anyways.
he said the best way to change the party is to be a part of the party and change it from the inside. I'm like, nope, burn it down, start over.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna lose, they're talking about the Trump's hypothetical win in 2020 because the front runner is Joe Biden.
Yes.
And the other people who are in the running are all people who are just going to get annihilated by Trump.
Yeah.
Like, Elizabeth Warren doesn't stand a chance in a debate against Trump.
No.
Cory Booker doesn't stand a fucking chance. Maybe you could make the argument that if some of these people come out of their shells a little bit, like a Kamala Harris or something like that, could do it.
I don't think so.
But I'm still like I'm not feeling confident about it.
Listen,
and nobody's going to take Trump's. Nobody's going to run against Trump in the primary. So just put that aside. Like, it's just not going to happen.
I don't know. 2020 is a long way away. First of all, we're assuming he gets to 2020.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
by hook or by crook.
I don't see how they convict him in the Senate unless just the position tide changes a lot.
I mean, that's the thing is that you have to lose the support. You have to look like backing Trump in 2020.
But I mean, like,
if everybody who Trump backs in 2018 loses,
what the fuck does he actually do that like helps? Like, what could Trump possibly do where the Republican Senate would just be like, oh, this is way past.
We get rid of McConnell. That's the only way. That McConnell, I mean, because again, I've read a story this week that said McConnell basically is at the point where he doesn't care about how he wins. It's just about winning.
No.
And he'll do it dirty. He'll cheat. He'll lie. He'll scheme. And the Democrats, as we've been talking about for the last few weeks, are unwilling to do anything.
He'll cry wolf on things that he does.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be like, I can't believe the power grab the Democrats are trying to make here. It's just like, that's McConnell's number one thing. Like,
and so you have to get rid of that aspect of it, and the Republicans won't get rid of that. I think the only way that this happens is if 2018 turns out to be a sludge for the Republicans, and everyone that Trump backs loses. Then I have to be looking at myself in 2020 and say, is it worth it to continue to back this guy who cannot get results? When Ted Cruz loses to Beto in Texas in 2018, does Trump have any cachet?
I think the only way this really turns is if they lose both the House and the Senate, but it has to be convincingly. I mean, like, I would almost have to say that the Democrats would have to clean sweep every single election in the Senate.
I mean, I don't think a clean sweep, but I think you send a message that, again, if Ted Cruz loses in Texas.
But I'm saying, like, say there's like an 80% turnover rate from Republicans to Democrats.
Yeah, I think that's
like
good.
That's enough to switch the House and the Senate.
Yep.
And I feel like maybe that would be enough of the message to the people who are still in there. Like,
I got to be up in 2 years.
I'm going to be slaughtered in 2020.
I got to back away from this president and start looking at other alternatives. Yeah. But he can also. But the thing about Trump is he can turn out the people when he wants to. The type of people like a group that was terrorizing Midtown Manhattan on Friday night. I don't know if you saw this story.
I heard of it.
Yes. So the Midtown GOP Club had Gavin McInnes come in to speak. Only he wasn't speaking. He was celebrating the 60th anniversary of when some fascists in Japan slaughtered a sitting socialist politician. And they reenacted the assassination for the members of the club. And riled up everybody and then sent them out into the streets, where a group of 30 men basically terrorized Midtown before jumping on the train and heading to the East Village, which, if I remember the East Village right, not a great place for Proud Boys, but not a great place to set loose a group of Proud Boys. Proud Boys, of course, are a white supremacist group. And nonetheless, so Gavin McInnes is a well-known Nazi. Is that safe to say?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who Gavin McInnes is?
No.
Oh, he's like a figure on the right. What's the other guy's name that got punched in the face?
Oh, God.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Richard Spencer.
Yeah.
He's a Richard Spencer type, Gavin McInnes. A little more subtle with his racism, a little more subtle with his Nazism. But so he appeared at the GOP club, got everybody riled up. 3 people were assaulted in Midtown. They were just ganged up on by a group of 30 Proud Boys members. While, so unsurprisingly, the NYPD stood by and watched while they shouted racial and homophobic epithets at the 3 civilians who just happened to get caught up in their web of anger towards people who are not white. Ironically, they then, after beating them up, stopped to take a selfie or a picture. And what would you say the racial makeup of that group was, Corey?
100% white?
You would be surprised to learn it was closer to 70% white, because there were mixed race white black members, there were mixed race Hispanic white members, there were fully Hispanic and fully black members of this group, which
What's the logic?
Brought out an interesting point. There is a great story by in the New Yorker, I believe, which was, why are minorities signing up for white supremacist groups? What's the logic? I don't know. I don't know what the logic behind white supremacists is, and I'm white. I don't understand that, especially seeing the makeup of the white supremacist groups that I have in real life. Not the master race, folks. Not the people we're dealing with. I'm looking at them, not the master race.
By the way, I also enjoy. There was something that I saw where it was it might have been like a Jordan Kleppinger type of thing, like where it's a comedian going in there.
Yeah.
Where they would send in white supremacists to some sort of rally. Like say it was in Baltimore. Like there was a white supremacist rally in the Eastern Shore. I don't know why I picked there. It's just a random place to pick.
Sure.
Anyway.
No racist there.
They go, he goes out there and he's just like, so you think, leads them up with a few, like, so you think whites are the dominant race and, should be in charge of everything, blah, 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 back and forth. And then eventually it gets to like, by the way, what do you think of Ray Lewis? Or like, what do you think of some black athlete? That
I love him.
Ray Lewis is just the best. He's better than any other linebacker in the league. It's like, the fact that he's black doesn't do. It's like, well, no, I mean, he's black, but he's not like real black because he's not like
he's rich.
I mean, like he's clearly got some sort of talent that separates him from what would be normally considered a usual black or something. Like like they go into these like theoretical flights of fancy of like how some people of different races, because they can do something or that you like them, are okay, but it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I listen to Jay-Z records from time to time because he's really good, but I mean, like, I really wish he wasn't black at the same time. Like, it's like, no, you don't get the chance to, like, I don't get, I feel like if I hate it, like, I hate the Yankees. Like, at no point do I ever go like, let them win. It's okay.
It'll be fine.
I'm fine if they win a World Series. It's not going to eat at me inside. Like, no, I want
Never.
them to lose every single game. Every one. I don't care. I just want them to go down.
Yes, we want them to be just like the Orioles. Lose every single game. Well, nearly.
I mean, hypothetically, you have to win 54, lose 54, but that's not even true anymore. So
yes.
Why can't they lose them all?
Well, and speaking of, walking into a rally in Baltimore, perhaps we should just take a quick stroll down to the Baltimore corner.
Where you get the straight dope?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit rough back home.
Yeah, almost glad I'm not in Baltimore anymore. First of all, if you remember the new Baltimore jousting, which is pulling passenger side car doors up to each other in an intersection and exchanging gunfire.
Yes.
That's new and now what we're going to call Baltimore jousting. Yes. So that happened before.
Jousting is already the state sport of Maryland, so it makes sense.
We found a new way to do it right here in Baltimore. But last week we talked about, what was the name of the officer? The corporal? No, commander.
Barksdale.
Was it really Barksdale?
I think so.
Barksdale? Was it Avon? Was his first name Avon?
No.
Okay. Barksdale, who is a commander who was asked to leave police.
I think his name though was based off of like the name Barksdale as a character was based off of one of the police
guys who dealt with him.
Yeah, so it might have
been this guy.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that the guy who busted a large drug operation in Baltimore was summarily thrown out of 1PP because he's not following the party line. But nonetheless, we talked about that last week. This week, the public relations officer, T.J. Smith, who is costing the city hundreds of thousands of dollars, not only in his own salary, but by sending 2 detectives to Anne Arundel County, where he was under contract before he came to the city, has decided to resign. And resign, I suppose.
Wait till my contract runs out.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of his contract, he's not renewing. He's still going to show up on the day-to-day, well, at least as much as he was before, as you may have heard us talk about on the Baltimore Corner before. Baltimore police have a habit of getting paid for hours that they're not actually working, so maybe he's working and maybe he's not. But he's going to show up to the end of the contract, which is in December. I do believe Baltimore has to send police to Annapolis or into Anne Arundel County for the next year or something. as part of that agreement, even if TJ Smith is
I
not.
didn't hear about the exact trade, but I'm sure there's some sort of nonsense.
Of course, they're going to lose out on that. But it was more his parting comments than it was the fact that he's resigning. What did he have to say?
He essentially said that he can't deal with the politics of being a police officer anymore. And
A Baltimore police officer.
yeah, and I think the what resonated with that was not necessarily like the politics of like I'm a police officer and people are going to say mean things to me and videotape me on the street politics of it.
Yeah.
But it sounded like the politics he was speaking about was like the hall and like dealing with the council and the mayor and all the
FOP.
all the people in the FOP and the people inside of the Baltimore Police Department who are literally eating themselves to try and get in the head position.
Yeah.
Like
One of which, Mr. Tuggle, Officer Tuggle, Commander Tuggle,
Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner.
Deputy Commissioner,
Yeah.
who pulled his name out of the running for Commissioner
Yes.
this week. So he will not be the new Commissioner in Baltimore.
And then he stopped showing up to meetings too. Which
Yeah.
is interesting.
Not a good sign. So basically, we have a gang in the city of Baltimore who all wear the same uniforms, the same colors. They're armed, which is an important part of the gang. And they have no leadership, which is fantastic. Bunch
Just
of guys
letting all these people run amok. It's
always good. And it's basically the continuing thing that we've heard out of the BPD, which is nobody knows what's going on and no one's really doing anything. And at some point, how many people have to say that before, I don't know, the mayor says, maybe we got a problem with the police department and we should step in here and do something about it.
You know what's a really bad sign? I can't remember. I saw some politician come home and like they had like a rally or something like that, and people were so excited to see them.
In Maryland?
No, it was somewhere else. It was like on CNN or something.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like it was a politician who had like overwhelming support, and he's like walking the streets, like shaking hands with random people. There's like no security anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like they love that person. Meanwhile, in Baltimore, like you couldn't just have like a conference call where people could call in and ask the mayor questions because she wouldn't want to answer 80% of the questions that were sent in her way. There's no way that that she's getting respectful questions right now.
Nah.
Which is why she's got to back up out of this whole situation
And
keep herself like.
as much as we made fun of Stephanie Rawlings Blake, and as much as she ran to the county whenever things went bad,
At least she said something stupid on her way out the
I was
door.
gonna say, like, at least she was having announcements, right? At least she was just like, all right, guys, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to put 3,000 safety officers on street corners to protect you from those squeegee kids. Catherine Pugh just did it and didn't announce that they were gonna do it. So
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to think that Catherine Pugh doesn't know what she's doing.
Oh, by the way, and not only are the police
Like, do you ever see those videos on Facebook where it's just like when you lie, like the dog like being chased by the sheep, and it's like when you lie about prior sheepdog experience. Like,
yeah, basically you get the job and you have
that's
no
what
idea what you're
Catherine
doing.
Pugh's doing. She's just like, oh wait a minute, I'm supposed to run the whole city.
Oh shit!
I thought mayor was like a mostly ceremonial thing.
I rode the Lime scooter though. Did you guys see that? I was on the scooter. We were doing scooting.
I gave Ray Lewis a parade. Yeah, I'm sure the kids don't have air conditioning, but who the fuck cares? Ray Lewis.
Oh, Ray Lewis, everybody. Yeah, but nobody out in the county cares about him. If you know what I mean. He doesn't play football anymore. So
Right, yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's
now-
more important that
Now he's just one of them regular people.
just really rich. But yeah, so the city of Baltimore is at some point we've talked about a take your medicine mayor. I think we've talked about a take your medicine police commissioner who just knows they're going to catch shit and just do the right thing.
Yeah.
At some point we have to say, why don't we just burn the whole city down? We're going to move out to the county and just build a new one. You know what I mean? Just like raise it Chernobyl style. Just put up the little things that say no one's welcome here.
It's like when the Mets were building Citi Field and they had to play some games in Yankee Stadium for a while.
Yeah, basically,
like-
Go out to the county. Just start up a new Baltimore. Move everybody out for a little while.
Listen, we're evacuating Baltimore for a couple years. We're gonna give it a good clean, and we're gonna come back
Scrub
with
it.
a whole new city you're gonna love.
We're gonna knock down all the empty houses, and once we come back to
And
a
replace
70%,
them with pinkberries.
Jogan Pinkberry.
We have a huge partnership with Pinkberry. We're pleased to announce they're going to open up 450,000 retail locations in the city of Baltimore. Everywhere where there was a vacant is now a Pinkberry. Enjoy.
Can we do half Pinkberry, half Starbucks? I think that'd be great. There's a Starbucks and a Pinkberry on every corner because that's what West Baltimore really needs.
In some West Baltimore neighborhoods, there's upwards of 20 Starbucks and Pinkberries on every single block.
It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio with you as a citizen of West Baltimore may have your own Pinkberry.
Catherine Pugh walks out of the press conference. She's like, did that one. And then like a year later, we find out that warring Starbucks are like shooting each other outside.
Right. I was going to say,
it's like
the BGF, they start wearing pink. They're in Pinkberry. The Crips, they take on a green flag, and they're just shooting at each other.
One Starbucks manager is driving by, gunning down another Starbucks manager. Yo, I gotta make my order.
We're
my quarterly
corners,
sales.
Man. This is my corner, all right? It's basically drugs.
If I'm not in the top 5 of sales in Starbucks, who's gonna fire me?
And we just find out it's Baltimore that brings out the violence in everyone. It's not the people who bring out the violence, it's the city. Much like Ghostbusters 2. There's just a river of slime going
people are
underneath.
like, when are we ever going to get rid of the Black Gorilla family? It's just like, when are we ever going to get rid of all these goddamn Pinkberries?
It's an evil city, and it should be razed to the ground. Right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just, honestly, I feel like we've talked about, like, somebody with such decent common sense before. Like, shouldn't we just... I feel like there should be an honorary common sense person, like installed in every single facet of government. Like there should be an honorary senator who just basically goes like, "Hey, if this Kavanaugh guy seems to be having problems, why don't we just replace him with somebody else?"
Yeah.
So like, God damn it, Jerry, why do you have to always be so goddamn like right on the money with you?
He should always get the mic too. Whenever he stands up, it's like, all right, fuck.
Like
Jerry.
Before the vote, let's go to Senator Jerry of the United States of common sense. Go ahead, Jerry. It's just like, do we have to do this guy? It seems like there's a lot of other white judges we could put in this place. God damn it, Jerry. Why don't you tell us this before we went through all the Kavanaugh stuff?
Listen, I'm thinking $3.8 trillion in taxes, maybe a little much. Might put us in a bit of a bind in the future. Can we do $2 trillion?
I just looked it up. I make a lot of money. I'm a senator.
Yeah.
And I don't even apply for any of these tax breaks. Does anybody else? I mean, like, I know we're all pretty rich, but I mean, like, did anyone check? Like,
these might not even apply to us,
they might
guys.
not even apply to us.
What are we doing?
Just the people who write us checks.
Who are we helping out here? Oh, yeah, the people who write us checks. Okay, fair enough.
He just
Onward.
he walks into the city and it's just like, so we've had 17 murders in a week. That seems like a lot.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Is that a normal amount of murders? Like,
I mean, for the city, yes, kinda it is.
Seems like we should do what we can about not having as many murders next week. Good.
Yeah, Jerry.
Wow.
Yeah, Jerry.
Good common sense.
That's good. I enjoy that. All right, so can we get like a little palate cleanser here at the end?
Yes.
So I sent you what might be the most amazing obituary ever. From the Delaware News Online, I guess.
Something like
Delaware
that, yeah.
newspaper. But it's someone who is a Delaware resident who was in the hospital. And I really hope that someone writes me as an amazing obituary as that. But it was just basically started out with like, if you believe sources, he was in the hospital right before his death. But our inside sources tell us
like
he
a
escaped.
most interesting man thing.
Yeah. Our sources tell us he escaped, and his wife was seen cashing out millions of dollars in bearer bonds and heading to the airport. Coincidentally, she was buying 2 tickets to his favorite country, France. And like this whole long thing. If you can get the link, we should put the link in the show notes.
Will.
And then so you read the whole thing, and on the first reading, I had the same reaction you did, where I was like a little confused. Like it's hard to follow everything that's going on. But then like the last paragraph is just, or you could believe that he fought valiantly to the end and died with his wife's hand in one and his daughter's hand in the other. It was very sweet.
Yeah.
It got me a little misty. But it was, I hope, check the link in the show notes. I hope that somebody does something as sweet for me when my time comes. Because I think that was an amazing obituary. And everybody should read it. It's a feel-good story of the week that someone would love him enough and think of it enough to write out all of that entire thing. So are you looking it up? What are you doing?
No. I was reading about like other obituaries too, because I feel like there's some sort of obituary like rather than having our person of common sense in the government,
Yeah.
he works in the obituary department of every single paper in the country.
Yeah.
Because like every once in a while, a funny one sneaks through, but it feels like so many of them are just stodgy and like.
Yeah.
I always like the ones where it's just like local Cleveland man dies, has requested the Cleveland Browns be his pallbearer so they can let him down one more time or something like that.
Yes. Although, I mean, doing so. Not
Yeah,
doing so bad this
you
time.
know, winning actual games.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Defeating the Baltimore Ravens
Yeah.
by field goals in overtime. Ridiculous. But anyway, so check out that story and feel a little good. And something I writing exercise that I did a long time ago is writing your own obituary. Take the time to limit yourself to one page, write your own obituary. How would you describe your life? And when you get to the end of it, you'll want to kill yourself because you'll be like, oh, I've done nothing with my life, and I should really jump on that. But it's also inspiring in that way, I suppose.
It's like sometimes when I like think back about like, holy shit, I spent a third of my life at Andy Nelson's.
Yeah.
Like, wow, probably should have thought about that a little bit more. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
Where else could you find really, really disappointing content?
where else can you find poor life decisions by Corey?
Yep.
OTheAnthem.com, Corey at OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com. There is a review out right now that you could go check out, and there will be another one out on Monday, and there will be another one out on Thursday. So to anybody who's saying, hey, where are the reviews? 3 in a week. There you go. Enjoy. All on YouTube.
Gonna keep that pace up?
I'm going to go see First Man this week.
Okay.
So next week, on Thursday, will be a First Man review. At some point between now and then, I'm going to see another movie. Mm-hmm. So we'll figure it out. But yes.
We should go out to Landmark.
That's fine by me. I really do like the Studio Movie Grill, too. I know you have your problems with it, but...
Yeah, I think it's fine. I just think it doesn't deliver on what it promises. That's the problem.
I mean, they're in the middle of renovating it right now, and they're going to have the full in-service or full in-seat theater experience here soon. But in the meantime, the seats are very comfortable, and they're already transitioned over.
I feel like, no, are all they? Because we've been there twice. One time we had the older theater, one time we had the nicer one.
I think they're all the seats are done now.
Okay.
They're
so
just,
maybe we can go.
They had like the whole lobby like blocked off because they're doing construction.
Okay.
So.
All right, so we'll see. Anyway, you can find more of me, as it says right here below, at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Byron's Books.
Thank you. And that's all I got going on. I really got to get on the videos, doing more stuff, building more content. But oh well. Anyway.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Hold on a second. Stall. Keep stalling.
All right. So yeah, you guys make sure you check out my books, which are available on Amazon. They're really fantastic. And I
found the 5th Horseman of the Apocalypse. Cuteness.
Oh.